Okay, good morning, everyone. This is Brandy with ACT for Alexandria. I'm the Chief Program Officer here, and I want to welcome you to our online gathering as we prepare for Spring to Action. I'm also joined by Celeste Flores, who is our Spring to Action Project Manager, and Sally Gardner, who is our Operations Manager, who will be helping with the slides. So thank you for your patience with our technology. And thank you for muting yourselves in advance. Let's go ahead and get started. Next slide. So here is the agenda for the call. We're going to walk through some of the changes to Spring to Action. We'll talk about the prizes. I know many of you are eager to hear more about that. We'll go through your dashboard, make sure that you have everything prepared. We'll talk about some ideas that you might want to think about for your campaign. And then we're also going to have time for a group discussion and then some next steps. Great, next slide. Okay, so what do we know? Thank you for everyone who has emailed or called to share your feedback about the new date. We know that many of you are eager to start fundraising, and many of you are working on getting your pages and your free agent fundraiser set up. We want you to know that we're here to help you if you need any assistance. Available for calls or emails, and you always know you have the blue chat bubble with GiveGab. We live in this new reality where things are changing day by day, hour by hour, really, with this virus. We know that things are moving fast, and we are having to make some decisions, and sometimes they're tough decisions. But we know that we're going to be ready for the big day. As you start thinking about how you're going to prepare, we really encourage you to think about simplicity, urgency, and fun. Yeah, those are just three things that we want to keep focused on as we keep moving forward. And then just know that we're daily giving thanks for you and all the work that you're doing on the front lines, caring for the community and serving the constituents that you have in whatever way that you can. We are really, truly inspired by the work that you're doing, that you'll continue to do, that we need you to continue to do after this whole virus is gone. And so we just want you to know that we're in this together and we know that we're better together. Next slide. Okay, so just a few changes and updates that we wanted to share as we prepare for the big day. As you know, April 15th is going to be the new Spring to Action Giving Day. And we have early giving starting on Friday, this Friday, April 3rd. Let's see, so some of you may not feel ready yet, and that's okay. You don't even have to participate in the early giving time period if that doesn't work for your campaign or you're not ready to start. If April 3rd is not your first start date, you can even start on the 4th, the 5th, anytime during that time you can launch. Just know that we do have people who are looking at the Spring to Action site knowing that it is coming. So I would encourage you, the first thing to do is to kind of get your pages ready so that people can see what you're fundraising for, just in case they come on early. We just know that many people have been contacting us about where to give, and we're pointing them to the Spring to Action site so that they can find the nonprofits that really speak to the ways that they want to help, and they're using the search button. So again, making sure that your page is ready is really important. We also had a change in the minimum donation. So before all of this happened, we really wanted to celebrate our 10-year anniversary and have a $10 minimum, but we have changed that to a $5. Knowing that $5, we want to make sure it's accessible for everyone to give. We know in this time, people may feel a little bit more stretched in giving. So we wanted to open up the $5. And we said something funny like, you know, give people an air high five or a $5 for supporting one of their favorite groups. We're also updating kind of all of the communication that we have for stakeholders, really communicating that sense of urgency and why people should be getting ready to give starting April 3rd, and why we really need to be supporting the nonprofits now and moving into the future. We're partnering with local media sources to have online ads and social media coverage to spread the word about Spring to Action happening online. Please note that there are special print ad opportunities that are being offered by the Alexandria Times and the Alexandria Gazette Packet. I know that we have the Times one posted in the nonprofit toolkit, so take a look at that. We're still waiting for the details on the Gazette packet, but we encourage you to support the local businesses who want to get the word out about Spring to Action and supporting your campaigns. We're also adding some new downloadable graphics to the site. Those should be available by Tuesday in the nonprofit toolkit. Apologies for any delay. We're working with the design team to make sure that those are available for you. We're also going to add a special page to highlight the local businesses and how they're giving back to support Spring to Action, whether it's through takeout orders, special discounts. So if you are partnering with a local business and you want to make sure that you share that information, we will send out a link where you can start putting that in. The information will be updated throughout the week. If you remember from last year, we had an events page that we were pointing everyone to. So kind of highlighting all the different things that were happening around the community in support of Spring to Action. For those of you who love donuts, I've already been in touch with Elizabeth's Counter, which is the old Sugar Shack, and they are ready to give out free donuts for donations. So we will post that up there on the events kind of / local business page. If you have questions about that, definitely reach out. As you know, we're working with business fundraisers. We're launching our Spring to Action ambassadors this year, and we need them more than ever now. We're making sure that they have everything that they need to publicize the Giving Day, and we will share with you the business fundraisers when we have those solidified, so probably in the email that we send out on Wednesday. We have a new prize structure that we're going to share in the next slide, so stay tuned for that in just a second. And I also wanted you to know that GiveGab is going to keep the Spring to Action site open year-round, in the sense that after Spring to Action Day on the 15th at midnight, while we will stop counting the donations for that Giving Day and for prize consideration, the site will be open. So if your donors happen to stumble upon that page, maybe on April 16th or April 18th, they can still make donations that will go directly to you. I've had a few organizations say if they weren't going to fundraise during Spring to Action right now, could they fundraise later? And yes, you can still use your Spring to Action page throughout the year. So that's an option for you as well. And just know that we're monitoring the situation on a day-to-day, hourly basis. So if there are other updates, we will be in touch with you about those. So next, we're going to talk about the prizes. So next slide. Okay, so prizes are going to look a little bit different this year. We took the feedback that we've been receiving from you through our online gatherings, through emails and conversations, and use those to help design this new structure. We want to be mindful of the competition aspect during this time, and we really want to put the focus on engaging more and more people to give. So our donor goal is 10,000 donors. As I know we've shared in the past, we've dropped the minimum donation amount to $5. We also know that the businesses that were hoping to support us, some of them were not able to support us at the level that they had anticipated. So this also, in a sense, reduces some of the prize money that we're able to give out. But that's okay, because we still have some awesome prizes to give away. So I'm going to just walk through what we're planning on doing. So as in the past, we will have the 3 leaderboards, and we will award for the top 5 places. So first place for the most dollars, most donors, and the free agent fundraisers, which are based on the most donors, will be at $1,500 prize. Second place, $750. Third place, $500. Fourth place, $250. And fifth place, $100. We also have early giving, thanks to Burke and Herbert Bank. And they will be providing $500 prizes for the most dollars that are raised, as well as another $500 for the most donors that are recruited to give between April 3rd and April 14th. There will also be a $500 prize for the most donors between the hours of midnight and 8 a.m. on April 15th. So that's what we're calling our early giving prizes. For the Power Hours, which are sponsored by the Patterson Group of Sotheby's TTR, they are going to be doing $500 for the most donors during the hours of 11 a.m. to noon, 3 to 4 p.m., 7 to 8 p.m., and 10 to 11 p.m. We have our Action Hero prizes. In the past, we have had them awarded every hour between 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. This year, we're going to do them 24 hours. So every hour, we are going to pull one randomly drawn donation, and we're going to add $100 as a prize. So the organization that had received that donation, it could have been a $5 donation, it could have been a $500 donation. It will get an added $100 that will be a prize, and that's going to happen every hour. We are also going to start something new this year. We're going to be awarding a $500 prize for organizations that meet a certain threshold by a certain time. So it's going to be a random drawing. So when you completed your registration, you indicated the operating budget size of your organization, and those are categorized into small, medium, large, and extra large. And so for every organization who meets the threshold of 25 donors by noon on April 15th, you'll be entered to win a randomly drawn $500 prize in those 4 categories. So award 4 awards at that noon time. And then for the organizations that have 50 donors by midnight, you'll also be entered into a separate random drawing for those 4 prize categories. So again, trying to randomize prizes a little bit more, really encouraging the number of donors to give, knowing that we need as many people to support Spring to Action as we can get. And also new this year, we're doing one. We know a lot of organizations, or many of you, are all volunteer led. And so we wanted to have a special $500 prize for the volunteer led organization that raises the most number of donors. And as always, we have surprise prizes that we'll give away. Those will be announced after Spring to Action. You know, in the past, there have been things like maybe the organization that has the furthest donation, or the organization that gets donations from as many states. You know, it'd be amazing if someone could get some from all 50 states, or maybe one from every continent. I don't know. That's the element of the surprise piece. So we just want you to know that only online donations will be considered for prize consideration. ACT donor advised donations, while those are offline, will count towards leaderboard prizes. And organizations, to keep making sure that we are equitable as we look at our prizes, organizations will be eligible to win 1 leaderboard prize, 1 power hour prize, and 1 randomly drawn prize. So I know that's a lot of information. This information will be available. We'll send out a recording of this, as well as the slides, as well as it will be put on the GiveGab website, on the Spring to Action site under a tab called Prizes. That should be up there later this afternoon. So I know there might be some questions. Hold your questions. We'll be ready to answer them shortly, or start putting them in the chat bubble, and we can get to them when we get to the prize, or when we get to the question and answers. Okay, that's enough about prizes for now. Let's go on to the next slide. Okay, this is your dashboard. So as we prepare for the big day, you really want to make sure that your organization page is ready. So when you log into your account, you'll come and see your dashboard, and you'll want to make sure that you see check marks that are in green for the first 5 of these bullet points. The first being your organization's info, the next being your organization's story. Your organization's story is actually where you're going to see the fundraising bar. So disregard that bullet point on that slide right there. It's actually on the organization story. You check the display goal on your profile box, and it will show up on the day of giving. You can also enter your story here, add photos, bold your text. This is kind of a chance for you to tell why you're raising money during Spring to Action and what your organization needs. The Get Verified to collect donations piece, this means that you have confirmed your state fundraising compliance and that your bank account and organization information has been verified. If this is not completed, you cannot fundraise because there is no way for donations to come in and get to you if we don't have that information. So we will reach out to you if that is not completed, or if you don't have a check mark on that on your dashboard, then you know that you still need to work on that. The next piece is adding donation levels. So we really encourage you to add 3 to 5 levels that really suit your organization and your donors. You can add also pictures to these levels to make them stand out more. There's also a custom level, so a donor can put in whatever other donation amount that they would like to do. The next piece is a thank you message. Thanking your donors, that is one of the most important pieces when it comes to Spring to Action. So you want to make sure you customize that message. You can include your own message in there that goes along with the automatic tax deduction details. You may consider putting a picture, maybe a video from your team, or maybe one of your constituents thanking donors for their support. We encourage you to customize that piece. So now there is a section, fundraisers. So if you're working with free agent fundraisers, there's a box there that says add fundraisers. That's where you can see all the people who have signed up to be free agent fundraisers for your organization. It's also a place where you can add free agent fundraisers. So maybe you're going to give them a little boost and add them on the back end. You can send them an email. They'll get an email from GiveGab saying that their page is set up. They need to create their online so that they can go ahead and customize that information. We have tools in the nonprofit toolkit as well as the Get Involved section that your free agents can take a look at for sample social media posts, sample emails, as well as kind of things to walk through how they create and customize their page. So now when you look at your dashboard, on the right-hand side is something called donation tools. And I just wanted to highlight a few of the boxes that you might want to be using. One is called Add Offline Donations. So when prizes are awarded for prizes are only awarded for online donations, I should say. We know that many of you are receiving checks or cash donations. This is where you can enter that information. You would click on the button. You'll have the opportunity to enter the name, donation amount, email address, so that they can get an email. And there are also privacy options that you can put in there. You can click to maybe not display the name or not display the amount. But the good news is that once this is added, this offline donation will be added to your totals. So especially if you have that giving bar that's showing your fundraising and tracking your progress, that's going to add to that. So that's the offline donations tab. The next piece is the managed sponsor matching. That's a mouthful. This is where you can add a match or a challenge grant. So if you have received a matching grant or a challenge grant from a donor, maybe from one of the ACT donor advised funds, from a business, or maybe your board is putting together donations to offer a match to donors, this is where you're going to enter that information. We'll send you a link, and I know that GiveGab is going to talk through this on Thursday, but you can customize the time, you can customize the name, you can add a logo, you can have multiple matches going on at once. There is a lot of flexibility with the matching grants. The next piece is the Manage Donations button, and here is where you're going to see a list of past donations and donors. It's also where you're going to go on the day of, where you're going to be able to track and see the donations that are coming in. So that way, if you want to respond to donors in real time and thank them, you'll have a record of that in real time. And then also, if you look towards the bottom on the right-hand corner of your dashboard, you'll see something that says share your page. This is your unique URL that you're going to share in social media, in your email communications. You want to make sure that donors are going directly to your page so that they can make a donation. There are also the share links to Facebook and Twitter. So if you click on those, you'll get the links for that as well. Okay, that is a lot for your dashboard. Hopefully many of you have already gone in there to take a look and make sure you have everything set up. If not, it's pretty easy and quick. And again, you always have us to talk to or the blue chat bubble with GiveGab. So now I'm going to turn it over to Celeste, and she's going to talk a little bit about some other ideas that you might want to consider.
Hello, everyone. This is Celeste Flores, and again, I am working with the ACT team on Spring to Action specifically, and I just want to first thank you again for taking the time for this and for all that you're doing. As Brandy said, we know this is not, this is a fast turnaround, and some of you might not feel ready, but we're really here to hopefully ease those fears and give you some good context and some good ideas. But we're here for questions and to hear you out. But as Brandy said, you know, some of the things that you are that I'm going to cover here are things that are ideas. And keep it simple is my takeaway. Maybe there's something that you could implement for your campaign. Again, remembering not all of this needs to be fleshed out and ready to go by Friday for early giving. Again, like Brandy said, your a page is something that people will see. So maybe focusing on that, as well as then when do you kick off? But I leave you with some campaign ideas to consider. I shared some of these last Monday, but I added a few more. So again, this is just as a starting point. Maybe there's a version of this that works for you or not. But we wanted to give you as many ideas as we can, because we know this is a fast and furious situation. But again, I'm telling you to keep it simple, what works for you, and what you think you can have ready for your campaign, whether you use Friday as the benchmark or being ready for the 15th. So here are some ideas on things you may have already been doing, and maybe you add a virtual twist to it. But again, engaging some key people like ambassadors or free agent fundraisers, even if it's one or two, maybe it's your staff that you start with, or some key volunteers, or your board, obviously. I know many of you are already using free agent fundraisers, so that's a really good, important step. But if you aren't, maybe considering adding a few. Same with ambassadors. And what I would say, ambassadors are more like those that are going to help you get the message out, like social media ambassadors, if you will, you can maybe pepper with some key messaging that they may not be able to help fundraise, but they might be able to help get your message out and amplify it onto their networks. So, and again, it could be just a quick email to them saying, here, post these things, or repost or retweet things we're already putting out there, and just giving them some clear direction. We may have mentioned this already about your messaging being as clear and transparent as possible, and being honest with that urgent sense or a tone to it. And since we all are online, obviously upping your visual game and making sure that you're using pictures, and when possible, video or quick videos that you might do with your iPhone, or having your volunteers do, or those that might be helping promote your day, doing some sort of promotional push. Those who are maybe more comfortable with video. One other thing that you can be promoting is having people print out their Spring to Action because signs. And again, this is a downloadable on the website, on the toolkit. And it is encouraging your supporters to do their selfies with I support whatever organization or cause that you are a part of, and having them share it on social media and tagging your nonprofit, and just even resharing those is great social content for you. Again, I talked about bringing events online and using the live functions on Instagram and Facebook, or having a staff member or a volunteer who really loves doing this kind of stuff, and having them do the takeover on leading up to Spring Action. Takeover meaning they actually are the ones that have access to the account and are posting on your behalf and talking about their experience with your organization. It adds another flavor to the day. Then one idea that people have been we've heard in other communities is a repurposing of an event sponsorship. You may have had an event coming up that you had to cancel, and maybe working with that sponsor to see if you could use it as a match. And then also maybe there's, this was another idea that was shared from another community, is considering a safe dare challenge to engage your followers online. And here's an example here. If we reach a certain number of donors, the executive director does something really funny, or a staff member does something really funny, or a volunteer or board member. So there's some ways that we could get really creative here. And again, I provide this as a take it and see what works for you, and see what you can include in your campaign. And we look forward in a minute on discussion to hear what maybe some other ideas you might have. So if we'll go to the next slide, on the next slide, we're going to start that group discussion. So we listed here a couple of kind of thought-provoking questions for you. As Brandy mentioned, we welcome you to unmute yourself and ask a question, or to use the chat bubble or the chat feature, here on the call, if you feel more comfortable just typing in your questions that we can answer, or ideas or thoughts. So I leave you first with the first question. What are your highest priorities, needs, concerns right now? Like, what's at top of mind for you guys? And if there's a specific question that you have, or maybe a problem, and we can crowdsource a solution. So is there anybody who would like to kick us off?
I will. It's Linda Odell.
Hi, Linda.
Hi. So I'm wondering if you have any recommendations so we'd like to provide emergency support to our families at this time, but also fundraise for our new programs that'll start up in the fall, hopefully. Do you have any suggestions about how to prepare for that, or to ask for two things, or?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I would definitely, lay out the need that you have right now. The emergency thing, whether, we've talked about this separately, the number of families that you're trying to help, or the kinds of ways that you're trying to help, and outlining how much that is going to cost. And also talk about how important your programs and services are. So that people can continue to give to support the things that you want to do in the future. The nice thing about Spring to Action being open all year round is that you can, again, reach out, and as you update people later on, you can refer them back to giving to your campaign. But I think, you can stage it in, here are the emergency needs, and here are the things that we want to do to make sure our program is thriving in the future. So know that when you give, you're helping to support the immediate, and you're helping to support us continuing to run our programming.
That's very helpful. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. Okay, I see a question from Carrie. A point of clarification about a question about the fact organizations can only win one leaderboard or one random prize. I assume this means an organization can only win, for example, second place in most donors, but not also fourth place in most dollars. Yes, that is correct. And then the next question, what if the organization wins a random prize during the day, but then ends up winning a larger prize from the leaderboard? Will the organization win the first prize that they win during the day, or the prize with the greatest amount? Okay, that's a good question. So you have the opportunity to win one leaderboard prize. So that is spread out over all three of those leaderboards. You can only win one of those. And then you can win one random prize during the day, so you still get to have that. And then you can win one power hour. So I think hopefully that answers your question, Carrie. So yes, you would still be able to get that prize with the greatest amount, so based on the leaderboard. You would still get that power hour prize if you went after one of the power hours. And then if your organization is one of those randomly drawn, you would still win that as well.
Okay, that's exactly what I was wondering. Okay, thank you so much for clarifying.
Yep, you're welcome. Thanks for the question.
Hey, Brandy, this is Emily with ANOVA. If I can actually help and add on something that we're doing for our campaign for Linda's question, we actually left ours also a little open-ended. So if there is anything that people are giving, so we've actually changed our focus at ANOVA from being cancer patient assistance to being the COVID-19 Emergency Preparedness Fund. But in our language to our donors, we've actually let them know, when the crisis is over, the funds will be used towards, our patient assistance. So I think just having that kind of upfront kind of helps as well. That way then you don't have to try to kind of do two campaigns, was kind of the discussion that we had, is, as long as people understand that you're going to be, whatever's left over is going to be used towards something else, then they seem to be really understanding with that. I don't know if that helps.
That's great, Emily. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Hi, thank you. I was trying to unmute. Yeah, I think that's very helpful, and I was taking notes also, so thank you.
Right.
Great. Yep. Let's keep troubleshooting. What are some other questions or concerns that folks have? Or maybe what changes are you already planning? And any ideas that you want to share with others? I can go ahead and share one that we were trying to troubleshoot this morning on a call with our team. So we know that, we've said we weren't going to do printed materials like our usual posters and yard signs and banners and all those things, just because it was going to be really hard to get those materials out to the community, especially since we're in this new normal. But we know that people are going to places like grocery stores or like to the CVS, those essential needs. So could we maybe do yard signs there or posters? And if that's the case, we could try to speed order some of those to have them ready. Definitely ready in time for Spring to Action. I don't think they'll be ready in time for April 3rd, but have them out in the community starting maybe April 6th. And I think so the question was, if we did that, would some nonprofits be interested in picking up a sign? I don't know what the logistics of that's going to look like yet. We just want to kind of get feedback. Is that something that is of interest and we should pursue that and get more signs printed? Or are we going to kind of just have a minimal amount, put them out at some of the high traffic spots where people might be going? We want to be mindful too that people should not be out and about, and we don't want to have a lot of touch points with people touching different things like these yard signs. So I don't know if anybody wants to chime in or put something in on the chat. Thoughts they have about that. We're kind of totally open to it.
Hey, Brandy, I actually was thinking about that. So again, this is Emily from Inova. I live directly across from Fort Hunt Park. And there are people going out and walking. The park is still open, so people are walking their dogs. I mean, they're maintaining social distancing. Everybody's spaced apart. But I probably have 50 to 60 people walking past my house every day. So I would love to have the signs out. I've had them out last 2 years, and I know people really appreciated being able to see it and saw that as a great reminder. So I was going to say, not even just the businesses, but some of us that live in kind of some high traffic areas, I would love to have signs.
Okay, that's really helpful. Thank you for that comment. Thanks, Emily.
And Emily, would you feel comfortable, this is Celeste, sorry. Just from a distribution standpoint, would you feel comfortable like picking it up from somewhere, or like we're just trying to figure out the best way and the safest way that people feel most comfortable getting those signs? I think, like Brandy said, we might be putting out signs ourselves, maybe, but like for those nonprofits and for people like yourself who might out in the community, is it offering one point of reference and people going there on a certain day or time and just picking up from a stack? Like, what do you feel? Is there any thoughts on that?
I can easily go and pick up. I think also, depending on if you guys could drop off, I can double check. I know we lined the hospital with them last year. So, we were able to get them out on our site. I think having that almost be as like a drop point might be well too, because, we've got our loading dock area. But yeah, I'm perfectly comfortable going, letting some people pick up. The biggest number one thing you can do is hand washing. So, as long as it's, I think, somewhere out, a tent set up someplace, I'd be perfectly fine going and picking up.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
Hi, this is Rebecca. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good morning, everybody, and thanks for doing this. It's really helpful. I also am, I live in Rosemont, and our street is often a cut through, but not only do we have drivers, but we have a lot of walkers in the neighborhood too. I would need to have a sign dropped off though. I'd love to have a sign in my yard, but I wouldn't be able to pick it up. Mm-hmm. So Brandy, I could send you my address, and if that's an option, that would be great.
Okay, Rebecca, thank you. I will definitely keep that in mind. Okay, I have a question, another one from Carrie. She says, I'm curious how organizations are handling messaging around the competition aspect of this. It doesn't seem right in light of what's going on to try to, quote, beat other organizations since everyone is struggling. I think the competition is what spurs a lot of donations, but we're not comfortable with talking about competing with other organizations right now. That is a good concern. What do some of you have, what are some of you thinking about in relation to that?
This is Emily again. We actually, we don't go for the competition piece. So, you know, we kind of already see ourselves as the juggernaut. But, you know, we, as much people as we can draw to Spring to Action, we do that, but we've never used the social media piece. I actually have to run all of our social media and everything through our system team to even get it approved this year. So that was completely shut down to do any type of the competition. But I think some people would like to know, you know, what's going on. I think people also want something to kind of rally behind right now. So I mean, even if it's, you know, not so much beating out another nonprofit, but supporting your own, I think as long as you spin it positive and they have something that they can get behind, I think that gives them something to do. You know, we're all sitting at home in front of computers.
That's great feedback. Thank you, Emily. Others kind of thinking about it? Looks like Mary says, we don't promote the competition either, just the cause. And I would definitely agree with that. I think that just highlighting the fact that your organization is here and needs support, I think you're really speaking to the donors who care about the mission of your organization and they want to support you. Some of them, I think, are even unaware that the competition even exists. And I know that we are kind of scaling back the competition this year, in a sense, by changing up some of the prizes and the way that we are awarding things. So I think it really is, I mean, if there was a competition, it really is around like, we just want to get as many people towards that $10,000 goal or 10,000 donor goal that we can. We really want to show the community that people are behind all of these amazing nonprofits who are doing incredible work every day. And so whether that's promoting your organization to say, like, we really want to, you know, we need your help to do this or that. And the gravy part is the fact that you do get the prizes. But I think the good news is you're fundraising and you're getting support and rallying people and getting them to know what is most needed for your organization. And I think donors are really, or individuals are really interested in doing something to give back, and they just want to know that they're helping in some way. And so I think that will help fill that need.
Any other thoughts on that?
Okay, I have a message or a comment from Velocity. It says, I think Velocity is focused on the cause too, rather than beating out another group. We're focused on beating last year's number of donors to Velocity and the total amount raised for Velocity. Also, we're trying to show donors how we can really stretch every dollar donated. I think that's a great point. I think, yeah, you can look and see what you did last year, and you definitely, yeah, try to increase what you did. And yeah, different goal setting. I think that's great. It's a great suggestion.
Yeah.
Yep. Competing against yourself.
Compete against yourself.
That's right. And also give yourself some grace, knowing that this year
exactly. Yes, give yourself lots of grace here. But I think, Brandy, to echo what Brandy was talking about, the rallying around, like, of the whole community around one common goal of supporting all of you, our ecosystem of nonprofits, is really the tenor of our communications going forward.
Yeah.
So what can we do to be helpful, or what will be helpful to you as you head into early giving on Friday? Is there anything in particular that we could maybe help with, or we're moving fast and furious, and we're trying to get the website all together and ready to go. So we just want to make sure that that you feel you have all the information you need.
Okay, while you're thinking about that, I have one more question or comment that just came in from Donna. It says, usually our fundraising is literally for staff, benefits, rent, audit, and insurance, as all our computer instruction is done by volunteers and all the equipment is donated. In normal times, I would ask how to make these boring operational expenses, quote, sexy. Currently, we are finding an intense need for computer donations to help our low-income clients cross the digital divide, as many don't have computers and cannot work from home. So it gives us a concrete ask to even purchase some low-cost computers, but then it's hard to ask that when others need food and rent assistance. Yes, I know that people are kind of struggling with feeling like, can I ask for something that's not an emergency relief need? And the thing, I mean, I think computers, that is really important, especially for people that don't have them. If they aren't able to stay connected, whether it's for their kids who need to be doing work online because of all the distance learning, for them to just stay connected and informed about everything that's going on. I think it is a compelling ask now more than ever. We need, we need computers. We need to be able to purchase these or refurbish these in order to support people in our community who don't have these things. So I definitely think that that's a compelling ask and one that you can ask at this time.
I think so too. And I think seeing it from the donor side, you're giving lots of great options for them to support. There might be someone out there who may not have the, maybe giving a smaller gift on the food and the rent assistant asks, but maybe has a great resource on the computer side, and that's how they give big. So I think all of these are, like you said, concrete asks. And I think from a donor perspective, giving them all the ways that they can participate and be helpful is really important, especially during the Spring to Action.
Okay, I want to be mindful of our time. So I'm going to have us move on to the next slide, and know that if people have other comments or questions, they can always email those or give us a call. Just for your planning for April 15th, we have 2 more of these gatherings that are going to happen on Mondays at 11. So April 6th and April 13th. We hope you'll join us again. This Thursday is the final steps to success and Q&A with GiveGab. So if you have some of those technical questions, that is going to be a great place for you to ask them. We're finalizing that presentation with them. So if there's anything specific, make sure you email us so we can make sure that's covered. We also want to make sure you have your giving your Giving Day profile ready, and you're able to be donatable by April 2nd, so that you're ready for early giving on April 3rd. We know that April 3rd through April 14th is early giving for Spring to Action. April 15th is our big day. And then April 16th and beyond is when you are thanking and stewarding your donors and keeping them informed about all the amazing things that you're going to do with their very generous donations. Okay, next slide. And we leave these just comments with you, just to again remind you that we are doing this together. We're in this with you. We know a lot of you are learning new things, which is good and sometimes a little bit stressful, but we're learning some new things, and that's good. It's good to be challenged and to learn. We know that donors are ready to help, and the time is now when they can help you, or April 3rd, I should say. But that the community needs you more than ever. We really value everything that you do, from the emergency needs all the way to everything else. And that we're really grateful for you, and that we're also here for you. So I see one more question. It's what time is the GiveGab Q&A on Thursday? I believe that is at 9 a.m. But let me just double check really quickly.
It's at 9 a.m. and it is, and I just put in the chat the link to the training, so you can sign up for that training as well, and it has the details.
Excellent. Thank you, Celeste.
Mm-hmm. Sure. And then again, registration, but you probably already registered if you're on the call right now, registered for our future online gatherings. But under that, on this page is the registration for Thursday's 9 to 10:30 training.
And the next slide is just if you have questions or want to chat, go ahead and send an email, give me a call. The number is there. Again, this is being recorded and will be sent out via email. Will also be posted as well as the slides. So stay tuned for that. And thank you again, everyone. We are really, again, so grateful for you, and we're here for you. So if you need anything, don't hesitate to let us know. Okay, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brandy.
Bye.
Thank you.